Hey guys, it's Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today's Mother's Day, May 11th, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at some plays on the MLB sheet. As always, when you open it up, give it a few seconds to auto-adjust and update the daily lineups. And then we have all these fun little tabs down here, whether you're doing sports betting, player props, DFS, whatever you need, we have it. So typically when I'm doing some sports betting, I go over here to the betting board, and I'm going to look at this first. And you can kind of flip down here, and this gives you a quick look at everything on the day. So we've got everything from power rankings, bullpen rankings, last 10, home road splits, Vegas trends for run line totals. We have what Vegas projects it at, and then we have what our model does with any possible edge. And then I just like to go over here and kind of take a look at the pitchers and see what this looks like. I brought in their K props, earn run props. The one stat we always focus on is it's a spin-off of WHIP, which is walks and hits per innings pitched. So this just takes the walks out of it and it's hits per innings pitched to see how much they're really getting lit up. And then over here we have their general stats. A quick look at hits and earned runs allowed over the last 5. I glanced down this AJ column here to see if there's a pitcher that's given up a lot of hits in each of his starts. And then we can get a quick look at the last 3 starts here and just kind of get an idea of what's going on. And if you're doing K props, we got the opponent K rate there. And if I slide this over a little bit more, we have the team runs scored over the last 6 games, the average. We have a little hot, cold indicator, and then some bullpen stats, ranking, and then the first 5 model that we kind of chucked in last year, but I haven't followed a lot this year. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these games. And as always, we're going to earmark the games, and then we're going to go back and look at them on this main tab and dig into them a little further. So taking a look, 11:05, that game is starting right now, so we're not going to worry about that. 12:35, this video should get up right before that, and then these games are going to go all the way down to about 6 tonight. St. Louis, Washington. So the first thing you want to do is look right here, power ranking and bullpen. These are the first 2 things we're looking at to get an idea of what we're going to do. Then we're going to go over and we're going to look at the pitchers, and I look at the hits per innings pitched, and then I glance at the last couple of starts. So St. Louis and Washington, the one thing that did jump out here is I'm looking at this. So this shows that Washington's a favorite. So we're going to come over here to, let me make sure you can see this. Okay. So we're going to come over here. Yep, that game just started. And let's go down here and look. So St. Louis is actually a dog. So Washington is minus 122. We can get plus 120 here with the Cardinals, which is very interesting to me. You can see here, the Cardinals have him in power ranking. They have him in bullpen ranking. They have him in the last 10, 8-2 versus 4-6. But they're not very good on the road at 6-13. However, it's early in the season. So Vegas has him at a 46% chance to win. We give him about 49. So the plus money is pretty good there. Looking at the 2 pitchers, the hits per innings pitched is really close, 0.78, 0.86. There's nothing that really scares me there. And then looking at the last 5 average, 1.6 to 2.4, that is fairly close. So that's a game we're going to swing over and take a look at real quick. So we come over here, and if you don't see how to change the teams, click inside this home, go to the drop down, Washington, and it's going to populate everything. So over here we can see Washington, they've lost 4 straight games, and they've only scored 2, 0, 6, and 1 runs in that last 4. So they're struggling. They're 15th in our power rankings right now. I guess it helps if you can see that. So up here we see that 0-4, they've only scored 2, 0, 6, and 1, 15th in our power rankings, so not doing the best. And then we come over here, and St. Louis, they've won 7 straight. Now, I'm glancing through here. They've all been close games except for this 10-0 run, but they beat Washington 10-0, 4-2. That's pretty good. We have a confirmed starting lineup here, so we can kind of see who's in, how they've been doing over the last 2 weeks. So I kind of like them as a dog, plus 120. We don't need to win that even 50% of the time to be profitable. Bullpens, St. Louis, they get to go up against the 30th rated bullpen with an ERA of 8.3. And then just look at the rankings over there for ERA, WHIP, xFIP, home runs, walks. So that bullpen's struggling, so I don't really care about the starting pitcher as long as he's not elite. And then we come over here, Washington's going to face the St. Louis bullpen that ranks 7th. So this is basically just saying, hey, St. Louis has a better bullpen. St. Louis has a better team right now. Now you can see Mackenzie Gore is a left-handed pitcher, so we can even come up here and take a look and see. So St. Louis has been really good at home. Not so good on the road, but they have won their last 2 road games against Washington, so they're picking up some steam. And then the lefty-righty splits are right here in the middle. And so when I'm looking at this, nothing really jumps out. Everything's pretty close. 320, 329, 255, 263, WRC plus 104, 110. Fairly close. I mean, their strikeout rate's a little bit higher, but nothing to be alarmed about. BVP, only 21 team at-bats, 12 out of 21, hitting 571 off Mackenzie Gore with a 5% strikeout rate, and there's 2 home runs. So Wynn is 3 for 5 with a homer, no Ks. Arenado is 3 for 6 with a home run, no Ks. And Contreras is 6 of 10 with 1 strikeout. And since this lineup here we can see is confirmed, those 3 are in the lineup, so we like St. Louis at plus money. And I usually look at the hits and earned runs allowed over the recent games. They're fairly close for the most part. So long story short, St. Louis plus 120 is one that does jump out. You can take some of those BVP guys if you want to do the hits, runs, RBIs, go a little further. Flipping down here, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, we see the power rankings fairly close, but the bullpen, there's a huge difference for Atlanta. Looking over here, 5-5, 2-8. Neither team's good. Homer road split. Both teams are terrible on the run line. Both teams are solid underplays. And then we come over here, we look at the pitchers. So we have Chris Sale at a .95 and an earned run prop of 1.5. So that interests me. So I'm going to come over here, and he's averaging 1.6 runs per start over his last 5. And look at his last 2 starts here. 7.2, 5 hits, no runs, 10 Ks. Then the start before, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 10 Ks. And then it just 1 run. So they're doing pretty good, but he's not getting a lot of offensive support, so keep that in mind. But this guy, Mlodzinski, whoever the heck that is, 5-4-2, 4 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 5 innings, 5 hits. So about a hit an inning. So I would lean Atlanta there, obviously, but let's see what the line is on that. So minus 225, that's pretty steep. Even if you go the run line, minus 142, that's a little steep. So if you bet this, you got to mix something up. So maybe take like the hits allowed by Carmen along with like the Braves to win, and then maybe you throw, Chris Sale strikeouts in there since he's been putting up quite a bit. Flipping down here, Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, neither team doing really good. Both 4-6 over the last 10. Don't really care for that. Texas, Detroit. Detroit here looks like a huge advantage, 8-2 at home versus 3-7 on the road. They're really good on the run line. Flipping through here, this tells me Vegas has it pretty close. We have a slight edge from 51 to 54%. Let's take a look at that line. So Detroit, this is not one that I did bet, but they're only minus 122. And then if you go, well, actually they flipped. So the run line favorable side is on the Texas side. So I'm never going to take plus 1.5, but if you can flip it and take minus 1.5, let's look at that. So Detroit, alt run line. So the Detroit Tigers, minus 1.5 plus 176. That's very interesting. That's a huge payout. Or you can go minus 120 on them. I don't mind that at all. Both pitchers are pretty solid here. When we take a look at this, we have Eovaldi, Reese Olson, hits per innings pitch, 0.83, 0.63. They're both below 0.9, so they're doing really well. They're both averaging 1.2, 1.4 runs over their last 5 appearances. That's really good. So it's going to be a good pitching matchup and probably come down to the bullpen. So when we're looking at the bullpens, we have an edge over to Detroit. So I don't mind Detroit there. Them winning by 2 is a huge payout, but not likely. But they are 63% on the run line, so take that with a grain of salt. Boston, Kansas City. Kansas City's been doing really well. They played a game winning extra innings night before last, I believe. And that's one we can take a look at. I don't mind Kansas City there. What is the line? So the line on this, minus 135, and then Boston's plus 114. So what jumps out at me is Giolito only has 2 starts. Let me make sure you can get all the way over and see that. So his last start, he only lasted 4.2 innings, gave up 10 hits, 6 runs versus a bad Texas team. Prior start, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. So decent, but not great, and then got shelled in his last start. Lugo has been phenomenal. He's allowed 1, 2, 0 earned runs over his last 3, so he's doing pretty good. But Kansas City's only scored 1 and 2 runs. They're not doing really well. 1, 2, 2, 4, 3 in 5 of the last 6. So I'd probably shy away from that one. But I would lean the edge to Kansas City because their bullpen's playing better. But what I worry about is they're not getting a lot of offensive run support. Boston does have a decent bullpen, so this could be a game that goes either way. San Francisco, Minnesota, when we look at this, both teams are ranked really good within 4 places of each other on the power ranking. Bullpen, both top 4. Minnesota at home is really good, 14-6, and they're 7-3 over the last 10. So slight edge over to Minnesota. When I come over here and take a look at this line, I'm going to find, if I can find it, Minnesota. Oh, there it is. So they're minus 160, minus 136 on the run line. And so I want to take a look at the pitchers here because I think there's going to be a wide difference. So when we come over here, we have Pablo Lopez, who has a .62, and then Roop, who has a 1.12. So anytime you get a pitcher that's well below 1 and one that's over 1, that's one that you kind of want to take a look at. So Roop, he's got 5 hits, 2 runs, 7 hits, 4 runs, 6 hits, 3 runs. And then also San Francisco offensively, they've scored 1, 1, 3, and 2 runs. The one that jumped out at me was Pablo Lopez, under 2.5 earned runs allowed. Look at this. He's averaging 1.2. Over his last 4 starts, he's had 1, 2, 2, 0, 1. And then you've got San Francisco, who's not doing very well. Plus, Pablo is at home, and he's been under this 5 in a row, so I do like that. So Pablo Lopez under 2.5 earned runs, I think that's pretty fair. I think you're probably going to lay minus 130, 140, but that is a prop that I did bet. Cincinnati, Houston, I'm looking at this. Power ranking, bullpen ranking, the same. Last 10, both 4 and 6. Home road split, nothing really jumps out at there. They're pretty much the same on run line totals. And our model has it within 1% of what Vegas has it, so nothing really jumps out there. When we slide over here, the pitchers are what's going to jump out at me. So Chase Petty has a hits per innings pitched of 3. That is fucking outrageous. So that tells me he's probably only had 1 or 2 starts. So we can see here that he's had 1 start. He lasted 2.1 innings. He gave up 7 hits and 9 runs against a bad St. Louis team. So we got to like Houston here. You could attack this game so many different ways. Let's go over and look at it on the main board. Oh, let me scroll down here. Minnesota, Houston. So Houston's at home. We like that. Cincinnati, I mean, they're not doing well. They're 2-6 over the last 8 games. They're averaging 4.4 runs. Houston hasn't been great. Here they scored 4, 1, 3. They had a couple 9 outbursts and a 3. So they're kind of up and down. Both bullpens are about the same as far as ERA, xFIP ranking. But the pitchers are your drastic difference here. So as we said, Chase Petty, 1 start that we're looking at here, 2.1. Only made 7 pitching outs, 3 strikeouts, 7 hits, 9 runs, walked 2 batters on top of it. He ended up with negative points on DK and FanDuel. So he could get shelled. So how I would attack this game is probably taking a Chase Petty, earned runs allowed, hits allowed, under on his pitching outs. You could go Houston first 5. You could mix and match these just depending on your book and what it will allow you to do. Houston first 5 minus 1 is probably your best bet. Ronel Blanco, let's take a look at him. 3, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3. So about an average pitcher. Has a steady about 2 walks in every game. So he's putting a couple extra people on base. Picking up a few strikeouts, but he's doing decent. He's getting at least through 5 innings. He's hit a 6 and a 7.2, and they've got a good bullpen. So as long as he gets 5 innings, he's good. So he's someone I would definitely consider. So that Houston first 5, let's go take a look and see if I can pull that up real quick. Houston, All right, so they're only minus 142, which is kind of shocking to me, giving Chase Petty. But again, they'll get a couple runs on him, and then it'll be kind of up to the bullpen. But, I mean, Houston can jump out, get a lead, and you could even cover this. If they get up 3-0 and they pull Chase Petty and go to the bullpen, you could even take a Cincy money line, cover part of your bet, be okay. This minus 1.5 plus 142 is interesting. I'm not going to dig up the first 5, but first 5 minus 1. Actually, I really do want to dig that up. Oh, let me see if I can find it. First X innings, first 5 innings. There's Braves, Nats, Detroit, Sox. Come on, there it is. There's Houston. Okay, so we got Cincinnati, Houston, first 5 innings. Houston minus 145. That feels pretty freaking strong of a bet right now. Both teams to score. Nope. Run line. First 5 innings. Houston plus 1.5, 345. That I'd put that in like a little double up parlay. Minus a half a run, minus 110. There's your bet. So Houston to be up by 1 run after 5 innings. I like that. That is pretty solid. And if you get crazy, you go Houston to be up by 2 runs after 5 innings plus 165. That's I might do that. That's juicy. I like that. Anyways, that game starts at 110, so let's speed this video up so we can get it out there. Flipping back over here to the board. Miami Sox, don't want anything to do with them. Both of these suck. Sandy Alcantara is a rock star, but you can see in his last 2 starts, 6 hits, 5 runs, 7 hits, 7 runs. So I'm not going to back him until he gets it on. Colorado, San Diego, this game is just shocking to me. How bad, and I haven't been paying attention a ton with this week and everything going on. Let me slide this over. So Colorado, look at this. They're 0-8. They're averaging 3.6 runs per game. And look at these last 4 games. They've given up 21, 13, 10, and 11 runs. And they had this one 9-point game, or 9-run game, but then they scored 0, 2, and 1. So pretty much late San Diego and anything you want. You can do 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. You can take San Diego team total over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Heck, you could even do 10. Over here, you can see San Diego's doing really good. They faced Marquez, 30 of 76, hitting 395 off of him with 4 home runs. That's a lot of BVP. Plus, it's in Coors. Like, okay, you could jump all over this game. You could parlay up a lot of the hits, runs, RBI props over here for these San Diego players. Colorado not doing so well. The one thing that did jump out at me is they're 7 of 10. So you can see here, Stallings 2 for 2, Farmer 4 for 6, and then 1 for 2. So against Pivetta. Bullpen wise, 15th or 16th and 22nd, nothing there. Marquez, this is a pitcher we want to attack. This is one I put up there. I mean, look at how many times he's been knocked out of the game. 4.1, 5.1, 4, 1.2. I mean, he's struggling to get, into the 5th inning. And look at his hits. 6, 11, 8, 6, 7. And then look at his earned runs allowed. 5 in each of the last 5 starts. So he's allowed 5, 7, 6, 7, 5. And only one of those was in Coors. The other 4 were away. So his last Coors start was 11 hits, 7 earned runs. So you can take Marquez. I think it's 3.5 on his earned run prop. Yeah, so Marquez right here. Earned run prop 3.5, so allowing 4. Yes, please, I'll take that all day. I think his hits is 6. It's 5.5 or 6.5. I did 6 plus on my bet, but you can put them together. It doesn't matter. You could take San Diego team total over 5, over 6, over 7, and then Marquez either earned runs or hits allowed, and then San Diego minus 2.5 and get something into nice plus money. Yankees, Athletics. I'm going to stay away from there. I don't like either of the pitchers. Baltimore, LA, they both suck. Nope. Dodgers, Arizona. This should be interesting. Arizona does not have a good bullpen, but Gallen has had 2 really good starts. Here we can see Zach Gallen's got a .67 hits per innings pitched. And his last 2 starts, 7 innings, a 2-hitter with 1 run, and then 6 innings, another 2-hitter with 1 run, both against the Mets. So a pretty solid team. His prior start was 4 hits, 3 runs, so pretty average. But it is the Dodgers, so I can't really go against Gallen. And I usually don't bet against the Dodgers. But if Gallen's pitch count gets up, like if he's at 65 pitches after 3 innings or 70 pitches, knowing this bullpen is bad and they're up, a run, 2 runs, 3 runs, consider a live bet on the Dodgers money line or even the plus 1.5, plus 2.5, knowing this bullpen sucks, and the Dodgers have a really good bullpen, and they can score runs at will. Toronto, Seattle. There's one thing that jumped out at me. I'll flip over and show it to you in this game. And then Philly, Cleveland. I actually like Philadelphia here. Both teams are good in the power rankings, and then Philadelphia's had a solid bullpen. They're both 7-3, so there's not a huge edge anywhere. But when I flip over and I look at the pitchers, looking at these, so Zach Wheeler, everybody knows he's a stud. He's allowed 2 earned runs in each of his last 4 starts. 7 innings, 2 runs, 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs, solid bullpen behind him. Ortiz, 0.65, so he's been decent, but his last start was 5 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs. Prior start was 6-3-0, but then his prior start before that was only 4.1 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, so he's kind of all over the place. So you could go look at his home road split, see what's going on, but I would lean to Philadelphia there. The Toronto-Seattle game, George Polanco was the one that I wanted to show you that jumped out at me. So if you're looking for people to get hits and kind of, parlay some stuff in here, neither one of these teams I'm a fan of. They don't rank really well. They're not killing anyone. Both pitchers are kind of like, Urena's been getting crushed. So the first thing that jumped out at me was Jose Urena. So in his 2 starts, he's had 4.1 in 3 innings, or his appearances. I don't know if they were starts. But he's allowed 11 total hits and 7 total earned runs. So this last start doesn't look bad if you look at 4 hits, 2 runs. But then when you see it's in 4 innings, you're like, ew. So if he would have went to 8 innings, that could have been 8 hits, 4 runs. Now, he's not walking a lot of players, but he is, getting slapped around a little bit. But they were both road starts. But LA and Washington are not very strong teams. So to give up 11 hits and 7 earned runs, that's a little bit alarming. Bryce Miller, he's kind of all over the place. Here, he had a great start. 2 hits, no runs. 3 hits, no runs. 2 hits, 1 run. And then he had 5 hits, 4 runs, 7 hits, 4 runs, so a little all over. However, the one thing that jumped out at me was George Polanco. He's 7 of 10 off of him, and then he has an ISO versus pitcher hand of 360. Now, you can see here he's been cold and hasn't been doing anything, but if you're going to take a guy to go over his hits, runs, RBI, Polanco is probably who I would look at if you want to mix someone in there. He's got the highest ISO per pitcher hand, the highest WOBA, and he's 7 of 10 already against him, so he's seen the ball really well. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up and get this out. Please give us a try. It's like 50 cents a day to get these sheets, and we do golf, basketball, and NBA right now with game logs. So good luck and have a good day.